Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today we are going to be doing something mesmerizing, fantastic, and beautiful all at the same time. So go ahead and create a new ActionScript 3.0 document and save it as, on your H drive, your name, oops, dash, Kaleidoscope. That's how I spell it. We're going to make a kaleidoscope. And there's two ways to do this, but I'm just going to do it both ways so that you know how to do both. So, save. There we go. And I'm going to rename layer 1 art. And I'm just going to get rid of my little doggy poodle thing that I got going on here. And first thing we need to do is we need to create a piece for our kaleidoscope. Maybe it's not technically a kaleidoscope, but it reminds me of one, so whatever. First thing we're going to do, make an oval tool, or use your oval tool. Draw a circle, so just click, hold shift, and let go. Once you've done that, go to the sub-selection tool. Select, you might have to zoom in for this. Select the bottom points, just by clicking and dragging, they'll be covered. They might be hard to see. You can change the color of those lines if you double click on this box up here on that layer, and you can change the outline color to something maybe a little more visible. So I'm just going to select these bottom points one at a time and delete them so we have a little, it looks kind of like a dome to me. But once we have that, we're just gonna select it all with our selection tool. Tap F8 to convert it into a symbol, specifically a movie clip, and we're gonna name this, let's just say pedal piece. You can name it whatever you want, doesn't really matter. So now we have this. Let's go inside and start making some magic. So the first thing we need to do is change this into a gradient. So I'm going to go to my gradient tool, or my paint bucket tool, select a gradient. I'll work with this one for now. And now we have a gradient on our shape. But that's not the gradient I want to work with. So I'm going to go up to the top right into the color panel. I'm going to get rid of some of these things. I just want blue to white. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make sure it's radial. Okay, so yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but this is what I'm going to work with, okay? Besides that, well, for now, that'll do. That'll do for now, okay? So let's go out to, let's say, frame 30. We're going to right-click, click Insert Keyframe, okay? On these frames we have coming from layer 1, create a shape tween. And now on frame 30, we're going to go into our gradient transform tool, okay? And all you're going to do is drag out this arrow with the circle around it until pretty much we have something that makes the blue cover most of our shape, okay? So once you have that, all we got to do now, we're going to copy frame 1, so just right click, click copy frames. We're going to put it out on frame 60, right click, click paste frames. Right click on 60 and remove the tween from that. And we want the tween on, shape tween on this keyframe from frame 30 here. So now if we play this, you can see it kind of fades in and out. And if it were to loop over and over again, if we make it loop, oops, come on. It should just do that forever and forever. Beautiful. So I'm going to save and go stop playing, turn off looping. I'm going to go back into our main stage where we have art, and now we just have this one piece here. So let's make some more pieces. Okay, so go to your free transform tool, select your shape, drag the pivot point, which is this white circle in the middle, to the bottom left corner. Okay, and once you do that, all you're going to do is press Control-C to copy, and then I believe it's Control-Shift-V to paste it in place. And what that's going to do is going to paste a copy exactly over where the last one was, okay? So then I'm going to use my rotation tool, or rotation part of the free transform tool. hold shift, and just drag it down about one tick, I guess you want to call it. So then press Control C, Control Shift V again. So I'm just copying and pasting. Hold shift, click, rotate. There we go. So just keep doing that. Control C, Control Shift V, hold down shift, rotate it. C, Control Shift V, rotate it. Control C, Control Shift V, rotate it. And I think I've said it enough times. Oops, and make sure you actually paste it. If you move it and there's not one behind it, you didn't paste it. And just do that until you have a complete circle. And once you have that, we're going to select it all, tap F8, and we'll just call this inside ring. Okay, so now that we have that done, if we go ahead and run our program, we should have all these shapes here kind of twirling in and out. Pretty cool, right? Well, let's add on to this, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to copy what we have here, and we're going to paste it in place, which is basically just what Control-Shift-V was doing. Use our free transform tool, hold shift and hold down. I guess if your center point's in the center, just hold shift and drag. You might have to hold alt, but make sure that it's changing around the center and you're not stretching it out. So there we go. We're going to do that. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go under Arrange and click Send to Back. So that way we have the smaller one on top of the larger one. And if we run, now we have this little thing going on. But I don't like how these entirely are lined up, so I'm going to click on the bigger shape and just kind of rotate it around until I get something that I like. And you can figure that one out for yourself. So use my selection tool, select both of these, tap F8, and I'm going to say complete ring. Okay, so now that we have all that, let's go ahead and center this. So use our Align panel, click Align to Stage, Center, and Center. And now we have to actually get these things to move with code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the inside. Okay, so we're inside complete ring. I'm going to name the bigger section, give it an instance name of outer, O-U-T-T-E-R. And I'm going to give the one on the inside name of inner. So the outside one should have an instance name of outer. The inside one should have an instance name of inner. Okay. So once we have that, I'm going to go back into our main stage. And now that we've given those two instance names on the inside of them, inner and outer, we're going to give this total package an instance name of, I don't know, let's say MC ring 1. Let's go ahead and do that. So now we're going to make a new layer, and we're going to call it actions. Lock our actions layer, click on the actions frame, tap F9, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to add an event listener to the stage. I'm going to say stage dot, add event listener. We're listening for an event that is enter frame. So every frame this is going to happen. Or we're going to call this rotate rings. Okay. So now we need to create that function. So we'll say function rotate rings. It's taking in an event, and the return type is void. We're not returning anything. So all we're going to do is we're going to say MC, what do we name that? MC ring 1. Okay. We'll say MC ring 1 dot rotation plus equals 1. And all this is going to do is rotate our movie clip by it's going to rotate our movie clip by 1 degree every time it's called. So now if we play this, Now we have something spinning. And that's cool and all, but we can do better than this, all right? We can actually access the inside ring and the outer ring by their properties. So basically because we gave those instance names inside of our movie clip, they act like properties. So we can actually access them from our complete movie clip. And what I mean by that is we can say MC ring 1 dot outer dot rotation plus equals 1. Okay, and we can just copy this. And we'll say the ring inner dot rotation. Oops. Oh, I guess we can't use inner. Inner is an already used word. So let's go back into our art. Double click on our complete ring. Click on the inside ring. Instead of inner, we're going to say inner ring. And we'll change the outside one also to outer ring. So just so we have something to kind of work with. So go back to our actions. So now instead of outer, this needs to be outer ring. And instead of inner, it needs to be inner ring. So what this is going to do, this is going to rotate both of our clips clockwise 1 degree. Let's move the inner ring counterclockwise. And let's get rid of this so we're not rotating the whole movie clip. So all we're going to do is rotate the outer ring clockwise, and we'll rotate the inner ring counterclockwise. And once we have that, now we have something that's pretty nifty. So that is one way to do that. And you can keep adding on rings. You can change the individual rotation. You could actually rotate each individual piece if you wanted to. It's just your preference. If you change the colors, it ends up looking really cool. But that's one way to do it. So now let me show you another way to do what we just did, but this way will be a little more reusable. Okay, so we're gonna go under our selection tool. We're just gonna click and hold shift, and we're gonna move the one we already made all the way out to the side, so that way we have enough room to create another piece. So let's use our rectangle tool this time. I'm gonna select, let's just say, I'll use the same gradient I did before. Click and hold shift, so that way we have a square with this weird kind of pattern going on it. I'm going to use my sub-selection tool to delete the bottom right hand anchor point, and we're just going to turn this into a movie clip. So tap F8, name it the same as you did before, but with the number 2 added onto it. So now we have this second piece. That's fine and dandy. Let's actually convert this to a movie clip again. Okay, so select it, tap F8, and we're gonna say piece 2 container. And what that means is that when we go inside of this piece, we still have our movie clip. Then we go inside again, we have the actual shape. And how this is beneficial is basically we can get this single piece to rotate without having to worry about messing up our fancy schmancy animations. Okay, so go back into as deep as you can right now, so just so that you see the shape layer. So I'm in piece 2, and we're gonna do what we did with our original piece, with our little circular piece. So go to the gradient transform tool, select this, go to the color palette, and let's see, I'll make this one 3 colors. I'll say red to yellow to, I don't know, green, neon green. You can pick your colors. It really doesn't matter. Once we have that, I'll leave it just like that for now. I'm going to go out to frame 30, click insert keyframe so it creates a copy. I'm going to copy frame 1, paste it on frame 60, and we need a shape tween in between both of these, in between these keyframes. So now on frame 30, click on your shape, and we're just going to extend this out so that it stretches. And now if we play our animation, it should go out and then in. And you can even play around with this by rotating it you know, maybe to face the point, and then it'll kind of twist as it goes on. I mean, you can do a lot of things with this. Just get something that goes in and out and is able to loop seamlessly. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and I'm going to go back into piece 2 container. Okay, and I'm going to rename this to art, and I'm going to make a new layer and call it actions. Okay, I'm going to go to my selection tool, click on my, oops, didn't want to go inside of it. Click on my piece 2 movie clip. I'm going to give it an instance name of P. Okay, underneath our actions, I'm going to create a function. So I'm going to say function that will move P, I guess, or rotate P. Okay, and we're going to be type void, and we're not making an event listener for this yet because I'm going to show you something that's really cool later, and kind of why functions exist. So we're going to say p.rotation plus plus, so we're just going to rotate it by 1, and I'm going to go ahead and click save. So once we have that, if we were to run this, nothing at all is going to happen, and that's fine. So let's go back outside here to our main stage, and we're going to do what we did with our rings before. So go to the free transform tool, move this pivot point to the bottom left, Control C to copy, Control Shift V to paste, and then hold Shift and then move around. So Control C, Control Shift V, Shift and click. C. Once again, that's Control C, Control Shift V, hold down Shift and then click on a corner and rotate. Dun, 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 just until you can get a complete circle or 360. And then once you have that, we're going to select this all and say F8. Let's just say inner ring 2. Save this. We'll give it an instance name of, well, we won't give it an instance name for now. But now we have, inside of here, we have all of our shapes, right? And then inside of this one, we have the actions and art, and then inside of that, we have another shape tween. So back on our stage, let's make a copy of this inner ring, Control C, Control Shift V to paste in place. Use our free transform tool, click and hold Shift, make it bigger. Gonna right click, under arrange, send it back so that it's back and forth. And we're gonna, let's rotate this bigger one over just a little bit, just because I don't like them lining up perfectly. Select them both. Make sure you only have those two selected. So click one, the big one, and then shift click on the little one. Say tap F8, convert to symbol. We'll say completed ring 2. Okay, so now we have completed ring 2, and we'll give it an instance name of MC ring 2. And I'm just going to move this to our other side of the stage and align it to the vertical center. Now let's go inside of here. So we have inner ring and outer ring, but we haven't given them instance names. We can give these the same instance names as we did our other shape or kaleidoscope thing because they are inside of another movie clip. If it's inside another movie clip, it won't be just inner ring or outer ring. It'll be MC ring 2 dot inner ring in comparison to MC ring 1 dot inner ring. So they are different. So as long as it's inside of another movie clip, we can actually give them the same instance name. So I'm going to name the inside one inner ring, and I'm going to name the outside one outer ring. Okay? So once we have that, I'm going to save and create a new layer. One will be, well, this one will be actions. I'm going to rename this other one to art just because I like to be nice and precise. Click on frame 1 of our actions, and here is where we are going to add our event listener. And because we are inside of our movie clip, we can actually just say add event listener. We don't even have to actually add it to the stage or movie clip. And we're gonna say, what are we listening for? Not a mouse event. We're listening for events.enter enter frame, so every time it ticks. And we're going to say rotate stuff for now, okay? So make a function that says function rotate stuff. It's expecting an event. It's not returning anything. And here we go. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to rotate outer ring dot rotation plus plus. I'll rotate that to the right. And then I'll rotate the inner ring to the left. Okay, or clockwise and counterclockwise. And let me go back out to the very top. Let me just make sure I did not. Okay, good. We haven't set anything up yet. So now our event listeners are inside of our movie clip. Okay? And inside of our movie clip, we're going to rotate the outer ring and we're going to rotate the inner ring. So let's run that and test it. And now you see we have one over here moving and we have one over here moving. And we just have our code in completely different places. So on our main stage, we're rotating ring 1. And then inside of our movie clip, we're rotating our ring 2. Okay? And when we do it the second way, because the code is all contained inside the movie clip, you can actually just drag on a second completed ring or a third one and run it. And your code will work without you having to do any additional coding. So that's getting a little sloppy. Now if we want to do a little more work and get in a little more rotation, we can just go inside of our movie clip, and inside of inner ring, we're going to create another function. Okay, so we're going to make a new layer, call it actions, rename layer 1 to art, click on our actions frame, tap F9. We're just going to say function rotate rotate stuff again. It's not going to expect anything, void, and here we go. Inside of here, we can call all of our pieces rotate function. Okay, if that makes sense. So I'll leave that just like this for now. We go back into where our stage is. Make sure you're inside inner ring 2, inside completed ring 2, and we just have to give all of these names. So I'll name all of them P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, P7, and P8. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now that we've given those all instance names, we can go into our actions panel, and this is where you're all going to get very lost. And we just need to call the function inside of those instances, right? So if you remember, inside of our piece 2 container, where we just named P1, P2, P3, and our actions, we made a function called rotate P. So let's copy that, and we're going to go back into our inner ring under actions, where it says rotate stuff. We're going to say P1 dot rotate P, and this will call that function inside of it. So just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste until you have enough to cover each one. So P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, P7, P8. Okay, P7, P8, and save. And once we have that done, now we just have to call this rotate stuff function. Well, where could we call that from? Well, we could just call it here, but we wanted to call it on enter frame. But we already added an enter frame onto complete ring 2. So let's go back. Into your under completed ring 2. I know this is like Inception times a million. Go under actions, and where it says inner ring, right below it, where it says inner ring dot rotation, we're gonna say inner ring, dot rotate stuff. Okay. So now it should call this rotate stuff function inside of inner ring, and let's just make sure that I named that correctly. And this rotate stuff function inside of inner ring should call the rotate P function inside of each one of our piece 2 containers. So let's test this, and if we did this correctly, it shouldn't have any errors. In our inside ring, each individual piece should also rotate, and now we have this really weird looking thing going on, as you can tell. So you see how it's not moving at all? Maybe we do want these pieces to actually rotate individually. Reason for this happening is because we're rotating them 1 degree in one direction and 1 degree in another. But we can actually change all of them really quick now that we've put them all in a function. We're just like going inside into one of our pieces, so into piece 2 container. Go into our action. Instead of rotation plus plus, we're going to say rotation plus equals 2. Okay, so now we're going to rotate it by 2. Now that we run, it's going to change every single one of those pieces on the inside, and now they're kind of actually spinning around. So that's really cool. You can keep playing with this. It's blowing my mind. You could even add the same thing onto the outer ring and just call rotate P, and like I said, the second way you can just click and drag everything on. You don't have to code it again. If you do it this way, it's a little more organized, but you have to type it out every single time. So that's your preference. Go ahead and have fun playing around with this. That's mind melting right there. There you have it. So bada bing, bada boom, bada beachy.